And welcome in, everybody. Just give me a moment. I'm going to pin a comment just welcoming in everybody. All right. So, this is going to be episode 3 of my podcast series. This is one where I'm just kind of catching everybody up in the community on the week, where I'm at, what I'm doing. This is just some extra material for those that are interested and really want to go down the rabbit hole. Try to get my mic and everything set up here. I feel tall. Okay, that's a little bit better. I'm just trying to chill and relax in here. Set a few things up. No. All right. So, I've titled today's episode My Conclusion of Bob Monroe Binaural Beats. And I'm going to dive right in here because if you saw that, you clicked on it, you probably want to hear about that right away. So let's just get right into it. So I've been trying the binaural beats, specifically Bob Monroe's take on, his method through there. And I have to see, once again, full disclaimer, I've only been listening to these for a short while. And honestly, I still stand by that. I think for any serious, impactful data, information, things for me to be learned here are probably learned over time, at least the greater ones. For me, I did already recognize what it is and how it kind of works and the effects that it did have on my brain. And I've decided whether to kind of continue them or not to continue them, and that's what we're going to kind of discuss today. I am really curious, though, for you guys who are trying the Bob Monroe binaural beats, if it's working for you. I do know that for some people, they're having great success right out of the chute with it, meaning that in a very short amount of time, it's doing great things. Now, for me specifically, and everybody's very, individual on our journeys here, is that I want to just say that for me, when I listen to the binaural beats, I really like what they've created as far as the ramping up of the sound, kind of the beginnings. I think I think that was one of the reasons too that there are multiple Bob Monroe sound things to purchase on the monroeinstitute.org main website, and that is where I I would, I guess, recommend for people that want to learn about binaural beats and figure out if it's going to work for them. Bob Monroe, Monroe Institute would be definitely one of the top names that I would mention to any of my colleagues, friends, family that were interested and ever heard. Well, you know anything about the binaural beats? You ever heard anything? Do you know if that works? This is what I would say about this to them, is that I would start there if you're interested. I can't say one way or another whether it's going to work for you or not, or what results you are personally going to get out of it, but I'll tell you what it did to me. So, first off, I have to let people know that I was heavily into music, sound, relaxation sound for a long time. Still listen to channels like Spa and Tranquil on the Sirius radio when I'm listening in the car. That's the type of music or sound that I listen to, especially when I'm trying to relax. Now, if I'm working out, that could be something else, but for the most part, I'm trying to relax my brain. I have anxiety, panic issues, and by indulging in more of those type of relaxation sounds, I actually saw really good personal gains for me personally. So that's kind of the direction that I went and I'm trying to do, because a lot of times when I'm driving the car, I'm thinking about stuff, future things, stuff that's happening this weekend, positive things. I try to. Sometimes it's problems I'm working out, but a lot of times it should be positive things, because really that's what the world is here for, is to, in my opinion. So back to Bob Monroe binaural beats. I am familiar with great sounds, relaxation music. Binaural beats has a hidden mechanism in there for those who aren't familiar. And what that hidden mechanism is a kind of trick of the brain in many understandings that how I feel anyways. And a trick isn't necessarily a bad thing. A lot of times, if I can trick my brain into getting me to go to sleep sooner than later, that's a great thing. Especially if no medication is required and it's natural. If you can, I'm just trying to give you examples where in meditation for Bob Monroe, the mechanism or the trickery happens where it kind of, the sound sets your brain up. It slowly lures the brain kind of into this one state and is able to drop it, in my opinion, with the sound motions even further. If your brain, your ear receptors, if all of that aligns with the type of person you are, to where that might be a possibility. And what I mean by that is some people are going to listen to Bob Monroe stuff and say, "What is it? What is that sound? Is that someone? Is that a horn? Is that who's making that ruckus?" For those people, that's trying to find the hidden mechanism or trying to get the brain to do something different. They are going to have some struggles. I think what it requires is a little bit more understanding about the human psyche and how the human approaches it, and I'm going to throw this in there, is the observer. And that's generally where I do get some response, is that you have to understand everything in life. It's seen from the point of view as the observer. And we talk about that on this channel for consciousness. And I think that goes back to the Bob Monroe stuff. As the observer, what type of observer are you? What filters does your observer perspective have? Are you completely open-minded? Are you void of all scientific knowledge going into this? Or are you so closed-minded, even though you would love to hear new ideas, your mind simply can't accept those? And there's that mechanism going on. And I think for me, you need to figure out what type of person you are, and you need to approach these things with an open mind. Now, that doesn't mean believe in them blindly. That means approach these with a scientific mind. But that's what I've got today so far. If you're liking this, hit subscribe. It said something about a frequency loss. Frames? I don't know. But it's probably because I'm running this through OBS Studio. I'm still working this out. This background is still horrible. I'm working on that. In fact, you should see a change here in the next while. This is episode 3 of really my first official podcast. I have some previous stuff on there, but this is the first time I think I'm really going to kick it up. Glasses on and see what's going on. Everything was fine until that, eh? Please use a keyframe frequency of 4 seconds or less. Currently, keyframes are not. Error. Nice. You know, it's always so choice when it's running perfectly and then decides to take a dive and tell me that my settings aren't what they should be. With that said, this is OBS open source. Let's see if it chokes that. It's faster. Why is that? Ah, the joys of the podcast. I really should just record these episodes and upload them so there isn't some choppy BS. But I try to, mean, smooth streaming as such viewers will experience buffering. Alright. Well, I always knew that figuring this all out was going to be an absolute nightmare. But what I knew was that when I did figure it all out, it was absolutely going to be amazing. Right now, it's looking rough. Poor status. Error. Choppy as a mofo. Well, let's... Alright, we're back again. Stream is healthy. It could be the weather here. Here in Michigan, it's still extremely cold. Weather in the 30s and 40s, that's Fahrenheit. We've gotten some rain today. It's warming up a little bit. Snow is melting, which looks crazy because there's a lake with a lot of shanty shacks on there that looks pretty sketchy. It still says we're looking pretty excellent. Now, I don't know. It didn't say it ended the stream either, but I don't know if you guys got that, but I'm really trying to work out the problems and all this. So, and I knew this was going to be tough. I knew my background was not going to be the best. Ooh. Don't mind me. Professional at work. Studio Willie. Yep. Only the finest. Spared no expense on this project. Is this thing on? Are we live? Oh man, not enough video. Smooth. What? Enough video? What you talking about? Still trying to figure this out. Like I said, go smooth sailing for a little bit, and now it's hating on me. I don't believe it to be my system. My system's actually pretty nice. I have a feeling it might just be the OBS Studio software and YouTube Studio software. They're generally being, and sometimes there's like a conflict that happens there. But in fact, this noise just told me that one of my videos is ready to upload here. So I'm going to try to move a couple settings, and then we're going to try this again.